My name is Ruth Eleanor Hayes, and I am 90 years old. Some memories dim with age, but some grow brighter, especially the ones that came softly, unexpectedly, on nights covered in rain. The night I met him was like that. It was 1974. Chicago was loud and restless, full of flashing lights, sirens, and the constant growl of traffic. I had just finished a long shift at the bakery where I worked after my divorce. My life felt heavy, drained, like I was surviving, not living. Rain poured over the city in sheets as I stood at the bus stop under a flickering street lamp. My thin coat did little to keep out the cold. I hugged myself and watched headlights smear into golden streaks on the wet pavement. Then a man hurried toward the shelter, clutching a stack of sheet music under his jacket. He shook the rain from his hair and gave me a shy smile. "Quite the night, isn't it?" he said. "Feels like the sky is having a tantrum," I replied. He laughed, a soft, warm laugh that felt like a candle being lit in a dark room. His name was Michael Turner, 38, a music teacher at a local high school. He had gentle eyes, the kind that looked like they carried both kindness and exhaustion. The bus was delayed, terribly delayed, so we talked. We talked about music, about the neighborhoods we grew up in, about the places we wished we could travel, about the loneliness that sometimes crept in during quiet nights. When the bus finally arrived, we sat together, not because there weren't empty seats, but because it felt wrong not to. He asked if I wanted to get coffee sometime, and for the first time since my divorce, I didn't feel afraid to say yes. 2 nights later, we met at a small cafe that smelled like cinnamon and hope. Michael arrived early, nervously adjusting his collar. "You came," he said softly. "I did," I smiled. "I almost didn't." He would have waited anyway. We sat for hours, talking until the waitress hinted not so subtly that they were closing. His stories were full of light. His smiles were shy and sincere. He listened, really listened. When we stepped outside, it was raining again. He offered his umbrella. I declined. He insisted. We walked together beneath it, our shoulders brushing, a warmth blossoming between us. At my door, he hesitated. "Ruth," he said quietly, "I'd really like to see you again." "So would I whispered. The weeks that followed were some of the happiest of my life. We walked through the city listening to street musicians. We cooked dinner together in my tiny apartment. He taught me simple piano melodies until my fingers grew confident. He left little notes for me. "You make the world quieter. Today was better because of you. I think I'm falling for you." I taped every one of them inside my kitchen cabinet where I could see them each morning. But slowly, something started to change. Michael grew tired more easily. He'd cough and dismiss it. He'd rub his chest and redirect the conversation. One night, after playing a soft tune on my small piano, he suddenly went pale. "Are you all right?" I asked. He nodded, but sweat glistened on his forehead. "I'm fine, just dizzy." But he wasn't fine, and I knew it. A week later, after he canceled our plans for the 3rd time, I went to his apartment. He opened the door slowly, looking exhausted. "Please," he whispered, "you shouldn't be here." "Michael?" I said gently. "What's happening?" He turned away, shoulders trembling. "I didn't want you to know." I stepped closer. "Know what?" He took a long, shaking breath. "I have a heart condition. It's been worsening for years. Doctors told me I shouldn't be working as much as I do, but teaching, music, it's all I have." I felt my chest tighten. "Why didn't you tell me?" He looked at me with eyes full of apology. "Because I didn't want sympathy, and I didn't want you to walk away." "I wouldn't," I whispered. "But you should," he said quietly. "I can't offer you a future. I can't promise years or decades. I can barely promise months." I cupped his face in my hands. "You don't have to promise time. Just be here now." He broke then, crying softly into my shoulder, letting himself be vulnerable in a way he hadn't before. For a time, we lived in the sweetness between pain. We walked slowly. We held hands on park benches. We spent quiet evenings listening to records. We learned how to love within the limits of his body. But limits have edges, and one cold December evening, they caught up to us. He collapsed during a rehearsal at school. He survived that night, but the doctor said his heart was failing faster than expected. He told me he wanted to end things before he became a burden. I refused. "Love isn't a burden," I said firmly. But he shook his head. "It's not your job to lose pieces of yourself taking care of me." "I'm not leaving you." He took my hands gently. "Then I'll leave for both of us." And he did. He moved to be with his sister in a quieter town, somewhere he hoped to rest, somewhere he thought I wouldn't follow. He left a letter at my door. "Ruth, you gave me the happiest months of my life, but I want you to live yours fully, without watching me fade. If love means anything, it means wanting the other person to be 3. Michael." I cried until the sun came up. I never saw him again. Years later, I learned that he passed away peacefully, surrounded by family, a piano by his bedside. I sat at my kitchen table, holding the last note he left me. "Be free," it said. But loving him had already changed me, made me softer, stronger, more alive. Even now, whenever rain hits bus stop windows, whenever a lonely piano melody drifts through the air, I feel him. If I could speak to that younger woman standing under the flickering street lamp, I would tell her, "Let him in, even if you lose him. Some loves aren't meant to last. They're meant to transform you." That is my story, the story of the music teacher who loved me gently in the space between raindrops, and whom I carry in my heart still.